Can you imagine listening to that bloody noise? Sounds like a... Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of experimentation and we basically have a 5930K and one of those Supermicro 4U air coolers. And we're going to try and stick it in this box. I was trying to look at solutions that don't involve the all-in-one cooler and allow us to get a much smaller box. So we're just going to clean it off, put some new paste on and put the cooler on and just get the board to boot. So first up, I like to just give it a good scrub and get everything off, and then we use this thermal material remover to give everything a good clean up. So there we go, we got some paste on. It always feels a bit strange doing this after you've just cleaned it up, but yeah, nice little X pattern. So we're just going to wire everything up now, put some memory in it and see whether she boots up. Love these little things. Makes it super simple. Do it all here and then we got the graphics card in, we got some RAM in, and I think we're ready to go. We got some colours, just what we needed. Oh yes! Ah, perfect. So it's nice and cool, voltage is okay, temperature's alright, fans spinning. Yeah, they're spinning. I'm not a fan of the RGB, but once Windows is finished doing bloody updates, we'll be able to have a poke at it. Check the temperatures and then we'll just start cranking up the CPU. See what we can get out of it without it getting too hot. The overclock score is a little bit better than standard. I'm going to try and just get some temperatures off of it and just see how hot it's getting and whether we've got any headroom to go above 4.2. Okay, so we've run for about half an hour now. We've had no throttling whatsoever, and what have been his max temperatures, we've probably gone up to 73, yeah, so that's not done too bad. I think the motherboard temperature is finally settled about 30. Interestingly, the SSD temperature keeps going up. 52. I set the fans to be more dynamic rather than just being on all the time. So it's not too noisy. I've left it running for about an hour and the temps are actually really good. Running at 4.4-ish. Next step is to steal this 1080. We're going to set that up and then do some VR performance testing with a Vive Pro, which we have in this nice Asda bag. Maybe it was a bit too much paste, but it didn't go over the edges, and yeah, it made really good contact actually. It was quite hard to get off. That's the CPU moved over. We just need to do the cooler. I just realized that actually I have some spare 2U versions of that cooler. So we got the cooler installed. We borrowed just one stick of RAM for now. The GPU's in, and we also migrated our kind of Windows 10 test bed. We're just about to switch it on and then, oh, we need some power. Okay, so moment of truth, we press the on button. There's a button somewhere, is it? Is that one? So it's making all sorts of noise. I just kind of left it as is right now. I think basically Windows is not happy that I put a different graphics card into the one that was in before. We've also changed all of the hardware. So I think once it, oh there we go. We're starting the stress test. I'm already at 75. Ooh. The fan is definitely kicking it up a gear. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to do 4 gigahertz on this particular cooler. Any higher than 4, no, I don't really want to take it any higher than this. 80. Maybe the fan should just run continuously. Can you imagine listening to that bloody noise? Sounds like a... it's not too bad for 4 gigahertz, but the just as a test, the noise is insane. There's no way we can put it with that noise in here, so yeah, that cooler's not good enough. Okay, so we got the 4U cooler in. I've not done the paste properly yet. I just wanted to do a quick test of the noise really, and then if it looks kind of good, we'll peel it all back off and put some fresh on and make sure it's all nice and clean. So far that sounds a lot better. So interestingly, it actually booted super quick. So I wonder whether the other fan was not able to keep it cool during the start. That's why there was kind of like a reboot loop. So I'm actually really impressed so far. I mean, it's only just starting to pick up. We're just touching on the 70s, but the noise isn't too bad for 4 gigahertz. This is potentially an option. We'll just leave it running for a bit longer and see how much noisier it gets and whether the temps change. And then I might try creeping it up to 4.1 or 4.2 if we need to, but 4 is kind of the target anyway. And 70 is kind of as high as I want to go. This actually might be slightly quieter than the radiator. I'm just going to try what we get at 4.2. We can get hold of these 5930Ks really cheap. The motherboards are a bit more expensive, but the chips are nice and cheap. And if we can use those coolers, it makes the whole setup even simpler and we don't have to use all of these radiators, and there's not much room in this case. Okay, so we can see that it's running at about 4.2. We're just running the test now to see what temps we get. I don't think the sound is that bad actually. Maybe once we have 4 of these, it might be a bit annoying, but in terms of how irritating it was before, sounds like it's not actually that bad. Okay, so that went a lot better than I expected. We're getting highs of 82, lows of about 60, 62, 65. So just doing a test with a 2683 V3, which is a server CPU with 14 cores and 28 threads, and maxed out in idle. It just barely reaches 40 degrees. So there's no overclocking, we just have tons of CPU power. And it only turbos to about 2.5, which is terrible. But interestingly, in VR mark, we get about 7,500. So, okay, so today I was just looking at this 5960X, and we just did some overclocking on it to 4.4. I'm slightly concerned actually about the temps. We're getting kind of 84, 83 as max, which is a little bit too high. Fired up to GPU Z, and we're just doing stress testing on both GPUs that are in there while the CPU stress test is going on, just to see what the CPU temperatures look like when the GPUs get super hot. Okay, so that's run for about 40 minutes. I'm kind of happy now that it doesn't go really beyond 70 degrees, which is really good. So we're going to deploy ESXi on here and get all that configured again. A bit of an update, the 5930K that we've got down there through the hole, we did a load of testing with Project Cast 2. And it works really good. We were overclocking it to 4.2 gigahertz, I think. Knocked it down to 3 cores, and it still runs really good. So I'm just in the process of getting, wow, look at the hair. I'm just in the process of getting ESXi onto this box, and we'll see whether we can get 2 racing setups. You can see there's kind of room for one, and then on the other side. So if we get 2 of those set up, and they can both run from the same box, then we just have 2 boxes in total that run all 4 headsets. I did a little bit of playing around yesterday, and ended up finding out that the wired version of everything just runs like twice as fast. So I'm not sure whether it's an ESXi thing. I think I might have mentioned this before. I've just not had time to test out the adapters on real hardware without going through virtualization. So we'll try and do that this week. It's just stepped on something. We'll try and do that this week, and if it's good, then we'll move the wireless headsets to separate hardware, or figure out what to do with that, and leave everything wired on the ESXi side. So we did something crazy today, and we're installing Windows 8. I forgot how crazy the yellow is on Windows 8. Okay, so we're just installing the NVIDIA driver. You can tell for now that neither one has been picked up in GPU Z. I don't want that bloody GeForce experience. Oh, okay. We just updated and restarted 127 updates, and when I went to shut down again, apparently we've got more updates to do. So maybe it just always says that now. So we've turned off SVGA, and we've enabled the PCI pass-through, and that looks like the USB drive is initialized. We don't have blue yet. Ah, chuff off. So interestingly, now that I've enabled SVGA, it's actually come back on this side, so let's try again. Okay, age-old one, turn it off, turn it back on again. So interestingly, using a different demo, this is the blue room, we're only getting 50 frames a second, but the GPU load is maxed out, which is what I'd expect. We're actually being limited on power now. We're well above TDP, so there's no issue with the GPU being able to do what it needs to do. I think the issue is related to somewhere in the CPU to GPU. So this is actually not as good as raw, but we're actually getting a higher frame rate by disabling the cores and sticking them only to the real cores, not the virtual ones. So it's a bit better than 6, but it's not as good as 10. So we're getting there. Let's just see what happens when we use the hyperthreading cores. So the CPUs are nearly maxed out, but the frame rate is a lot higher. So there's definitely something to do with the number of cores and the frame rate. And I guess if the game is playable, then less cores is better. It's just completely the opposite to what I expected. Okay, so it's not quite as good as raw, but actually it's a lot closer than the 6 that it was before. Okay, so we switched away from ESXi back towards the standard regular Windows builds. So we got 3 of those set up yesterday. almost ready to go without any of the VR software, just Windows basically and Steam VR. And we're just doing the final setup of the fourth one. Today we were just waiting on another power supply. We did a bit of a switching around and we were left with this pretty old thing from early 2000. I didn't really want to use it. It also didn't have the correct EPS connectors or any 8-pin connectors for any of the GPUs. So yeah, so got another power supply. We've got 4 of the machines set up now, or we'll have 4 of the machines set up, and then we can see how the VR stuff works and see if we can get some bookings. Yeah.